The views and opinions expressed in the DILLIGAF podcast are those of the host alone and are not intended to express those of any other person, business, or entity. The DILLIGAF podcast is for entertainment only. These are my opinions and should not be interpreted as facts or advice. Think for yourself.
Keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the DILLIGAF podcast, talking about anything and everything that interests me. If it makes me think, laugh, cry, scream, rage, or say, what the fuck, you're going to hear about it. My name's Tom. I'm your host. Thank you to everybody for watching or listening on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, share, rate, comment, all that kind of fun stuff. Make sure you're following on social media. It's at DILLIGAF_pod on all socials. And if you ever want to shoot me an email, it's dilligafpod@gmail.com. And you can find all that and much more on my Linktree, which is Linktree/DILLIGAF_pod, or scan the little QR code right there in the corner of your screen, and you'll find all the links there. So we got an interesting topic today, one that just honestly fascinates the hell out of me. Today we are talking about the 27 Club. Is it a curse? Is it just a morbid coincidence? Or is it just normal life? And for those of you that don't know what the 27 Club is, it's basically a group of celebrities, musicians, actors, athletes that all passed away at the age of 27. And we're not going to go through the whole list because it is long. It is very long. If you look up 27 Club on Wikipedia, it's got the entire list of everybody that is supposedly part of this morbid kind of club. But I'm just going to go through some of the more well-known people on this list. Starting off with the person who is pretty much considered the first member of the 27 Club, and that is Robert Johnson. If you don't know who he is, he was a blues guitarist back in the 20s and 30s. He was called the King of the Delta Blues, and he is widely considered to be the greatest guitar player of all time. And there's a lot of legends surrounding Robert Johnson because there's not a lot known about his life. I mean, there weren't good records kept back then, especially in the South. And but one of the biggest legends about Robert Johnson is about him selling his soul to the devil at the crossroads. If you've ever heard that story, that's about Robert Johnson. And supposedly the way this came about, he was not a very good guitar player, and then he kind of disappeared for a year, came back, and just blew everybody away. If you've ever heard any of his recordings, this is at a time before electric guitars existed. All he had was an acoustic guitar, and some of his recordings, if you listen to him, it almost sounds like a piano because he's got like three different things going on one guitar. But yeah, getting back to the 27 Club, when he was 27 years old, he passed away, obviously, but the cause of his death is really like unknown. And there's a lot of rumors surrounding that. The most popular one is that he was poisoned. He in one of the towns that he went to play, as the story goes, he messed around with the wrong woman, and that woman's husband gave him a poisoned bottle of whiskey. And supposedly he drank this whiskey and became violently ill and passed away. And he is pretty much regarded as the first member of the 27 Club. Like I said, a lot of mystery surrounding his life in general, just because not a lot of facts are known about him. But so yeah, Robert Johnson, my opinion, greatest guitar player to ever live. First member of the 27 Club. Next up, we have Brian Jones, who was one of the founding members of the Rolling Stones, their original bass player. And by all accounts, he was the leader of the Rolling Stones. It was not Mick Jagger when they first formed. It was Brian Jones. It was his band. And then he obviously passed away at 27, and Mick Jagger kind of took over at that point. And the way Brian Jones passed away, he drowned. I don't know the full story behind it, but yeah, drowned in a backyard pool. Then, of course, another person a lot of people regard as the greatest guitar player of all time, Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, overdosed on drugs and basically choked to death on his own vomit. I'm sorry if that's a bit gross, but that's the way it happened. And again, one of the greatest guitarists to ever live. And that's kind of a pattern with the 27 Club is these are all ultra talented people. I mean, top tier in their chosen field, be it music or movies or whatever. And yeah, Jimi Hendrix, no exception to that. And but yeah, passed away at the age of 27. The next one up is Janis Joplin, same thing. Uh, Drug overdose, just an amazing singer. I mean, if you've never heard any Janis Joplin recordings, look them up. And hopefully you can find one with video of her singing because for that voice to come out of this tiny little woman is insane. But Janis Joplin, another one, passed away of an overdose at the age of 27. Next one up is my personal favorite frontman of all time from The Doors, Jim Morrison. And if you've ever read about Jim Morrison or watched any documentaries on The Doors or watched The Doors movie with Val Kilmer playing Jim Morrison, you see God, how do you even describe Jim Morrison? He was just kind of on a whole nother level, and obviously a huge drinker. His thing was alcohol, and it was the 60s. Of course, he was into drugs too, but his main thing was alcohol, and he actually died of heart failure. But of course, that was related to the alcohol and the drugs. But was found in his bathtub. He was living in Paris at the time. But this is another one. There's kind of a lot of mystery surrounding it because he was found by his girlfriend Pamela Coulson and or Pamela Corson, sorry. There was like no autopsy or anything like that. So there's a lot of speculation that he didn't die. He just kind of went off the grid because he did have some criminal charges pending at the time. He'd gotten arrested for indecent exposure at one of his concerts and things like that. So a lot of people think, oh, he didn't actually die. He just kind of went underground, went into hiding, and got out of the public spotlight and just went on to live a quiet life. But I don't know if Jim Morrison could have done that, honestly. I don't think he could have lived a quiet life. But by all accounts, he did pass away at the age of 27. And interestingly enough, his girlfriend, Pamela Corson, a few years later, passed away of a drug overdose, also at the age of 27. So again, kind of morbid coincidences here. Then of course we get to Kurt Cobain, lead singer in Nirvana, basically the band that killed hair metal. Thank you. But the first alternative grunge band to really hit big, and by all accounts, Cobain suffered with like anxiety and depression and bipolar disorder and stuff like that. It also into drugs, was I believe was addicted to heroin if I remember correctly, and he ended up dying by suicide. Again, a lot of people don't think he died either, but conspiracy theories, that's a different show. We did that last season. But yeah, Kurt Cobain also was 27 years old when he passed away, and so was Amy Winehouse, amazing British singer. And I'll say the same thing about her that I did with Janis Joplin. If you've never heard Amy Winehouse, look up some of her stuff, and it's just crazy to hear that voice. The voice does not match the look with Amy Winehouse and Janis Joplin, but just a phenomenal vocalist was Amy Winehouse, and but she had major problems with alcohol, and that is what eventually killed her at the age of 27. Next one up is Ron Pigpen McKernan, who was part of the Grateful Dead. And this is the first one we're talking about that actually died of, I guess you could say, natural causes. He had a gastrointestinal hemorrhage that killed him. I don't have a whole lot more details on that one, but yeah, he was a member of the Grateful Dead. Then we have Thuy Trang, who, if anybody was a fan of the Power Rangers when you were a kid, the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, she was the Yellow Ranger. She passed away at the age of 27. I didn't even realize that until I started putting this list together. I knew she had passed away, but I didn't realize she was 27 years old when it happened. She passed away in a car accident. But yeah, I was a Power Rangers fan when I was younger. It was a cool show. But yeah, Thuy Trang died at the age of 27 in a car accident. Then we have Jonathan Brandis, who was a child actor. I'd say probably his biggest parts, he was a regular in the TV series Sequest, but he was also in the original version of Stephen King's It, the TV miniseries. And oh God, I should have wrote the character's name down. He was like the main one, the guy that started Bill. He played young Bill in the original Stephen King's It. So but yeah, he actually passed away from suicide. He was another one, struggled with depression and was like, yeah, just like career stress. And you, unfortunately, with child actors, it seems to be kind of a pattern, unfortunately, that they end up having some type of issues. And so yeah, next up we have Pat Tillman, who was an NFL player, but he was also in the U.S. Army, and he was actually killed while serving in the Army by friendly fire, if you can believe that. Like, people in his own unit killed him accidentally. And that, I mean, anytime a soldier dies, anytime anyone dies, it's tragic. But for a soldier to die at the hands of their fellow soldiers is just, that's tragedy on a whole nother level. And then we get to Anton Yelchin, who any Star Trek fans out there should know who he is. He was in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. He played Pavel Chekhov and did very well, played that part perfectly in those movies, and he had the potential to be a huge star. And he another one passed away in a car accident. Eh, Like I said, so it's like, is are these just, is there some type of curse? Are these just morbid coincidences, or is it just, is that just life? Because I mean, people have actually studied this pretty deeply, and they basically came to the conclusion celebrities don't pass away at the age of 27 in any greater proportion than the general population. Which, okay, but damn. Another one, and this is one that I personally like really remember when this happened, is Louis Spicolli, who was a professional wrestler, had drug issues, died of an overdose at the age of 27. This was in the late 90s. He was wrestling in WCW at the time. He was part of the NWO with Scott Hall, and he had I believe he had been in ECW as well, because Tommy Dreamer, shortly after he passed away, renamed his finishing hold, which was the Death Valley Driver, renamed it the Spicoli Driver in honor of Louis Spicolli. And he'd always pick his opponent up on his shoulders, hold him there for a minute, shout Louis, and then dump him on their head. But yeah, so Louis Spicolli, professional wrestler, and with wrestlers, it is so common with the drug issues because of painkillers or because of cocaine, because of the long road trips trying to stay awake, or just getting into the party type life, living that kind of lifestyle. with pro wrestlers, especially from back in the 80s and 90s. You hear about it so much, and it's sad. It's so sad because these guys, they literally work themselves to death just because they love what they do. They love the business of pro wrestling so much, but it eventually kills them. Thankfully now in the pro wrestling business, there are more what's the word I'm looking for? There are programs in place to help them. The schedules are not what they used to be. These guys are not on the road 300 days a year anymore, driving thousands of miles at a time and having to wrestle 7 days a week anymore and that kind of crazy shit. Now the schedules are lighter. They have programs in place, like WWE has their wellness program to help with drugs and things like that. And I'm not saying it's a perfect environment now by any means, but it's definitely, wrestling in 2025 is definitely a hell of a lot better than it was in 1985 or even 1995. But yeah, and that's just a small portion of the 27 Club. Like I said, if you look up this list online, it is mind-boggling, the number of celebrities that have died at the age of 27. Like I said, it's not confined to one art form. Like, most people know about the musicians in 27 Club. I think they're the most prominent, but it goes into acting, it goes into sports. It's pretty much any type of celebrity. You will find someone on this list from one of these worlds. And it's like I said, it's fascinating to me because it's always people that are just super talented, like a Jimi Hendrix, like a Jim Morrison, like a Robert Johnson, or Kurt Cobain. I mean, those are four of the greatest musicians to ever live, and made huge impacts in music in general. And they all died at the age of 27. Like I said, I don't know if it's a curse, like a lot of people say with Robert Johnson. He made that deal with the devil, sold his soul, and that was the devil collecting. I don't know if it's just a morbid coincidence or what, but yeah, the amount of celebrities that have passed away at the age of 27 is crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap me up for this week. I mean, like I said, I've been interested in this for a long time, and when I looked up this list, just how long this list was shocking to me. And especially, people like I said, Thuy Trang from the Power Rangers. I knew she had passed away in a car accident. I didn't know she was 27 when it happened. So, and let's be real, 27 is so freaking young. I mean, I just turned 48. 27 seems like a lifetime ago. And I realize people die even younger than that, and that's just as big of a tragedy. I'm not saying the age of 27 is like significant as far as how big the tragedy is, but just the number of famous people who have passed away at such a young age is staggering. So that is pretty much going to wrap me up for this week. But again, thank you all for watching or listening on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, share, rate, comment, all that kind of fun stuff. Really helps out the show. Make sure to follow at DILLIGAF_pod on all the socials, and check out my Linktree, which is Linktree/DILLIGAF_pod, or scan the little QR code right there in the corner of the screen. You'll find all the links. And if you ever want to shoot me an email, it's DILLIGAFpod@gmail.com. So with that, I'm going to wrap things up for this week. Thank you again for stopping by and checking out the show. And as always, if anyone has any issues with anything that I have said here today, ask yourself one question. Do I look like I give a fuck? 'Cause we want retribution.
Tribute show.